Hello, everybody, and welcome to Commodity Culture, where our goal is to make you a better investor in the commodity space. My name is Jesse Day. Before we dive in, of course, standard disclaimer, nothing here is investment advice. Do your own due diligence. And today's guest is the founder of Common Stock Warrants, where he simplifies the process of unlocking significant profit potential from stock warrants. We're going to be discussing the mining sector, where he's currently seeing value, discuss gold, silver, and other commodities, and of course, learn about stock warrants and how your average investor can get involved. It's Dudley Baker. Great to have you on the show.
Hey, great to be here, Jesse.
Yes, very happy to have you. I want to start off with a broad macro overview of the mining sector at present and ask what are the main themes and trends that you're currently watching when it comes to mining equities that you think more investors should be paying attention to?
Well, I tell you, I'm kind of a visual guy. So I back up. I've got to look at a long-term chart, let's say of gold and silver. And then when we start talking about the mining stocks, we're, of course, looking at the GDX, some of the indices, the GDX, the GDXJ, HUI, say the Canadian Venture Exchange. What a nightmare that is. I love to compare the venture exchange to the price of gold in a chart. I mean, it's nothing but down and to the right. And so the trend in so many of the juniors, and especially in the small exploration companies and the micro caps, is miserable. It can't be any worse. And so what does this mean for us? This is the days that we put on our contrarian hat, and we want to be buying when nobody else wants them. This has always been my philosophy. It's kind of followed the Rick Rule camp, of buying when nobody else wants them. Obviously, that means we do our own due diligence first. We don't just step in blindly and start buying things. But I just think the trend right now is non-existent for these miners as opposed to the gold market. And so we just have to be patient. We're looking for opportunities every day. And that's my view of where we're at.
And you mentioned gold and gold miners, and I want to talk about that because gold obviously having a very strong performance, staying around 2,500 at the moment, and yet the mining stocks seem to be underperforming. I was just talking with Lee Gehring and Adam Rosenzweig, and they were saying on a historic basis, gold mining stocks right now are close to or even at the lowest valuations ever in history. Do you expect this gap in valuation to close? And you mentioned obviously now probably a good time to deploy capital into that sector as well.
Oh, I expect that gap to close big time. The question will be when. I've got to believe it's sooner rather than later here. It's just, we've got gold looking good. Obviously, it's destined for much higher levels here. Where there's something holding back the miners, the young miners. It's probably, their cost has probably gone up outrageously so over the last few years. It's just going to take higher metal prices to trigger this next wave up in all the miners. It has always happened and through the years. So I've done this for a good 20 plus years, seen numerous of the cycles. It's always when you think you're down and out and you're never going to have a bull market again in these miners, then here it comes. So we just don't know. Does it start tomorrow? Does it start in 6 months? But I'm totally convinced myself that it is coming, and it's maybe going to be the mother of all bull markets. It's been a while since we've had a really great one.
And do you have the same sentiment when it comes to silver mining equities? Obviously a much smaller part of the market, very few pure play silver mines out there. Most of it comes as a byproduct of zinc, lead, copper, other metals, etc. How do you see the silver market position now? Because silver is an area where sentiment is maybe as low as I've ever seen. I think no commodity at the moment is more hated by the retail crowd than silver. A lot of despondent silver stackers left over from the silver squeeze movement who expected that silver was going to rocket to $50. And yet here we are. What are your current thoughts on silver and the miners as well?
I'm the same way on silver, if not more so. There was a great, Eric Sprott had a great interview within the week. And you can just see the almost the disgust on his face, the disbelief that where silver is trading at, relative to gold. And then you throw the miners in, and of course he's always buying, he's always participating in private placements. And I've got services that I follow myself, and so I can follow what everybody's doing. I can follow what Eric's doing if he's an insider. You can follow what Rick Rule is doing, players in the business. But yeah, I'm really bullish on the silver sector as well. I don't really distinguish one from the other than that some of these little silver miners literally selling for pennies that I own. Will they go to $1? Will they go to $5? Will they go to 10? Back in it's hard to believe, but back in 1976 to 1980, in that monster bull market that peaked there in January 1980, a lot of the little miners. There was a guy that wrote an article. I forget his name at the moment. I reached out many years ago and asked for his permission to reprint that, and I've done that several times through the years. But literally, little penny stocks, like similar to today, went to hundreds of dollars a share, not 5 or 10, $300 to $400 a share in a parabolic upside move. Now, will that happen or not this time? I don't know. Pretty much if you bought at $5, monster move in front of us. I think that is a possibility. I don't live for it, but that is a possibility.
Hey guys, just a quick break to hear from today's sponsor, ARC Silver Gold Osmium. They offer personalized service and competitive prices with no minimum purchase for silver, gold, platinum, or osmium. Here's just some of the comments left on this YouTube channel about ARC SGO and owner Ian Everard. Have bought from ARC, good source and price. I cannot say enough good about Ian and his company. He is the most honest individual I could find in order to buy precious metals. If you are looking to buy precious metals, I recommend Ian at ARC Silver. He is a straight shooter. So go to arcsgo.com and contact Ian Everard today at 307-264-9441 or by email at ian@arcsgo.com, and make sure to tell him that Commodity Culture sent you. Let's talk about uranium for a moment here. Is that an area of the market that you also speculate in and that you're watching at the moment? Because we've seen quite a pullback in that sector recently as well. Again, a lot of despondency, a lot of negative sentiment. I wonder if you have any thoughts on uranium at this moment.
Well, I technically, I'm not a guy that's up on all the technicals of the uranium market, but yet I think I believe in it. I believe every investor probably needs to consider having, one or more uranium stocks in their portfolio. I've got a couple of uranium stocks myself. Let me just give you one, if I may, one live example here that just took place with one of the uranium companies. So UEC, which is Uranium Energy Corp, most of these uranium companies at the moment are probably selling for basically, they're on sale roughly 50% off of their highs of earlier this year. So it's a dismal performance that we got at the moment. But on Friday, what excited me is the CEO of Uranium Energy Corp stepped in and bought in the open market. He's buying shares. So I followed the insiders, and there was another officer that also came in. So they were buying in the low $4 range on UEC. Now, to me, this is great. I mean, I know Amir that heads up UEC has already got a monster position in his company. But it makes me feel good when they're stepping in here last Friday, September 6th, buying open market transaction. And whether this is putting the nail in the bottom, so to speak, I don't know. But yet it was a great sign. And I look for things like this. This is just kind of who I am. The insider activity is just ingrained in everything that I do.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about the insider trading and the insider transactions, how you use that as an indicator a little later. I want to just talk about the junior mining sector as a whole here, because it is fraught with perils and pitfalls for speculators who don't take the time to do their homework and to educate themselves. What is your process for identifying whether a junior mining company is worth speculating on or not?
Well, I tell you, whether you're a novice investor or whether you're a seasoned professional, the junior mining sector is fraught with a lot of risk. There's an incredible number of opportunities. It truly is about timing, because if you catch it, if you were coming in at the top of a market, you're going to have numerous years of a down cycle, and you're going to get really discouraged. As opposed to, as we are speaking, we're at the bottom of the cycle. Anybody listening right now, to me or to anyone else, what a fabulous opportunity. You almost throw the dart at the wall and probably be a winner going forward. I just think it's going to be that outrageous going forward. So it's but no, it's just even the pros are scratching their heads as to why we have this incredible disconnect that we do, but yet this should get resolved relatively soon.
Well, let's dive into stock warrants. This is kind of an obscure area of the market for most people. So for those unfamiliar, could you walk us through how investing in stock warrants works and why you believe it presents a compelling opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, stock warrants literally been around well over 100 years. I mean, the old AT&T had a warrant that was trading back in the 1920s. And so we just go back a long time. And my knowledge goes back for many, many years, 50 years or so. So I stumbled upon this a long time ago. But just when you think of a stock warrant, think of like call options, okay? Except in the case of warrants, they're actually issued by a company. So they're security issued by a company, giving the holder the right, but not the obligation to buy the underlying stock at a specific price and expiring on a specific date. So very much similar definition of call option. But what we normally have with an option, with a warrant, is they're usually issued with a minimum of a 2-year life. If we get lucky, we can get a 5-year life, and I love those. So that's just a golden opportunity. That doesn't mean that you have to have a hold for 5 years. I've been asked before by some people, does that mean if you had a 5-year warrant, you have to hold it 5 years? Of course not. You can buy it one day, sell it the next day. So the warrants that I follow are those that are trading warrants, whether they're trading in the United States or in Canada. In our databases for common stock warrants, we've got all of the warrants traded, US and Canada. So all industries, all sectors, well over 800 companies now, and we've got a monster amount of detail. So if somebody listening is not really, the mining sector is not their hot button, I mean, if they're looking for tech companies, if they're looking for biotechs or pharmaceuticals or whatever with warrants, you can slice and dice and sort and our data just about any way that you want in the search for opportunities. And so we've done this for quite a few years now, and it's just a wealth of information. And of course, my hot button has always been the mining sector. And so it always comes back home for me that that's the companies I'm paying attention to. So hopefully that answered your question there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're focused more on the mining sector when it comes to warrants. You also posted a video on your YouTube channel where you said there are cases where it makes sense to both be long a company, so hold the regular shares, and also warrants at the same time. How do you determine that, and how does that strategy work for you?
Well, I'll give you one example that I did this, and after you asked me that question, it kind of crossed my mind. So why don't I do this on every transaction that where I buy the warrants? Okay. So the deal is, there was a little example of this may go back 7 or 8 years. Maple gold mines. These prices are going to sound outrageous to you, and I'm going to make this an example. Like not everybody that's listening probably has 50, 100,000, $250,000 to invest. So let's talk more to the investor that may just have 10,000 or maybe 5,000. Okay. So what do you do with that little bit of money? Well, in this case with Maple Gold Mines, I stumbled across this name, probably on 321 Gold. Bob Moriarty probably mentioned it. Immediately, what do? I look at a chart and I look at the insider activity. And I saw, my goodness, the insiders were buying. And they just had an offering that included a 5-year stock warrant. And I'm thinking, holy smokes. I ended up, my average, so I said, okay, take $10,000. I'll probably use more than this, but as an example. And we divide this, we're going to put 5,000 in the common shares that we're probably selling at let's say 10 cents. And the warrants, that my average cost ended up being $0.015. Well, within 1 to 2 years, I ended up, the shares went up at the 40 to 50 cent range. So I cashed out, made a really nice profit on the shares. The warrants, of course, went up about 10 times, went up at probably, it probably went to roughly 15 cents, somewhere in the 15 to 20 cent range. And so sometimes my memory gets vague on these things. I've got so many examples on the home page of our website that I've cataloged through the years, which are real numbers that just came off of my tax return. So I know they're real numbers, and it's not made up stuff. It's genuine stuff. So a lot of examples if somebody wants to go to the website and actually see what happened. But in that case, what we're looking at, because a lot of times we can think, we know the shares are going to go up, but how high are the shares going to go up? But frequently the shares will go up that 100, 200%. Maybe we're holding the warrants and looking for a lot more. But if the shares in this case would just double from 10 to 20 cents, which they did, you could sell that. Now you've got, in essence, you've got your warrants for free. And that's the ride. And then you've got a 5-year warrant. And that's the more conservative way, I think, to play it. Now, me, you might call me more of a gunslinger, so to speak. I mean, if there was ever a speculator, that probably is me. No, I'm not looking for 100% or 200%. We're swinging for the fences, and more often than not, we win. But obviously, you don't win every time. But there's just this particular time in history, I think there's a lot of opportunities here right in front of us. So there's just ways to play this. And I look at some current positions I've got and wonder, well, why didn't I do that? Because the common has already doubled. And I didn't buy the common. But now the warrant itself is just my theoretical example here is already doubled in price as well. So I can't kick myself by any way, shape, or form. But I could have employed a little more of a conservative play had I bought the shares and the warrants. So it's just something for every investor to think about. And I think it takes a little bit of risk off the table.
Maybe this is kind of a dumb question, but are warrants available to any investor? Do you have to be accredited? Are they available through trading platforms? Do you need a private broker? What's the best way to access the ability to speculate on warrants?
Now what I do is just the publicly traded warrants. Okay, that's what's in our database. What can I buy myself? Now, obviously, there's private placements, and so I'm in touch with Arash at privateplacements.com, and hopefully we're going to do some stuff together here in the future. Obviously, everything that he covers is private placements, in Canadian private placements, and some of those, it's up to the management of the companies. Do they or do they not want their stock warrants to trade? So it's all up to the company and their management. Yes or no. Some like warrants, other ones don't. So it's just a personal preference. Obviously, I like them because we can step in. So you don't have to be accredited or anything. These are either they're trading on the U.S. markets, they're trading on the Venture or the Toronto Exchange, and are readily accessible to all investors.
Great. Well, I want to switch to discussing insider transactions. You touched on this earlier, that you use that as an indicator whether it's a good time to enter a position. You've released a video on your YouTube called Breaking the Code, My Fascination with the Secret World of Insider Trading. Talk to us about how you currently use insider trading information to inform your own investment decisions.
Well, I tell you what I've found, and I've done this on and off, and I wonder sometimes why was it ever off to not be employing this strategy. But for me, what works is not looking for number one is having access to a service to data for the insider information. Okay, again, on our stock databases, and so any investor in any of these companies can see, as well as those that are trading in my portfolio, to see what the insiders are doing. But I've got a service myself that probably costs me $300 a month, Canadian, that gives me the ability just to slice and dice and sort and search for new opportunities. I'm not looking for one insider, officer, director, or 10% holder. I'm not looking for one. I'm not looking for two. I'm looking for three or more insiders buying just about the same time and over a period of time, not just coming in 1 week and one transaction. I want to see a little trend going on. And 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a home run. You don't know what's going to happen, but you've got management buying consistently, open market. I want it to be open market transaction, not exercising options. I want it to be just like me. If I walked in and was buying, just like Amir did the other day with UEC, in that example, he's buying open market transactions. That's really cool. That's really cool. And that's always served me well through the years. And of course, better yet, when you look at the visual of the chart, you'd love to think that that's still a company that's down and out price-wise. And now the insiders are coming in. And this is pretty much a slam dunk. We never know how high it's going, but it's the entry price that we got to get in and be comfortable that we're in at a bargain basement price, and it all comes together. So I just love to do this. I went in and did the research the other day, spent several hours just sifting and sorting for looking for new opportunities with 3 or more insiders buying. And I came up with probably a good 15 or 20. And I've got to go back now and look. And so who are these companies? I have no idea these names. And so do a little more research. But yet I just love doing this myself. This is fun.
And do you view share buybacks, like when a company starts, you see a trend with a company buying back shares? Is that a potential indicator to you that it could also be a good time to invest?
Well, it's interesting. Normally, I would have not thought that there was much activity in the mining space with respect to the buybacks. Coincidentally, this morning, here we've got a press release from First Majestic Silver, share buybacks. So they feel that their company is so undervalued in the current market that they're willing to now, starting tomorrow, they want to accumulate up to 10 million shares to buy back. So now what I would love to see some insiders in here now starting to buy as well. I'd love to see, Keith Newmark starting to come back in. I mean, a lot of the insiders already have monster positions, but it'd really be cool. That'd be the icing on the cake. And of course, the shares just got beat down on First Majestic with the announcement of the merger with Gatos Silver. And they just took First Majestic down pretty hard. We're probably at darn near a 4-year low. It's hard to believe, and we're silver where it is. So this too will pass, and I think we're going to look back, and then this current price range is going to look ridiculously cheap, a few months down the road. So again, I like to put the contrarian hat on. But yes, in this particular case, it does make sense with that share repurchase. Now, if it was up at a much higher level, I wouldn't care. But it's only because we're down and out price-wise that it got my attention. And I try to stay abreast of the news. Whether I own companies or not, I kind of like to keep the feelers out and know what's going on.
Well, one industry that is doing a lot of share buybacks is the oil and gas space. I wonder if you have any interest in that sector. Is that another sector where you also play with warrants? And are you long oil and gas here?
One big one that's probably been in the database that's still got another year or 2 years of remaining life, Occidental Petroleum. Oxy came out. They were seemingly on the verge of bankrupt several years back. Their warrant came out, 7-year life. 7 years, holy moly. That warrant got down to $2 within just a few months after the warrant was issued. And of course, it's been up to $50 or $60. So that was, you may say, an easy couple of 1,000% gain. And it's always with the warrant, we're looking for that additional leverage. We always want, if we think the common's going up 100%, we want the warrant to do at least 200%. We want reward for buying the warrants. It is that equity kicker. It's going to give us a lot more bang for our buck. Sometimes we get 3, 4, 5 times the upside leverage. And so we're really, cheaper we can buy that warrant, the more upside leverage that we may get.
And we've discussed gold, silver, uranium. We just touched on the energy sector. Are there any other areas of the mining sector that you're currently bullish on? Copper, nickel, battery metals. Is there anywhere else you're currently looking for value there?
Not specifically. It seems like some of the smaller companies that I personally own have also, it's a gold and a copper play. There's always seemingly a lot of copper in those opportunities. And so it just kind of goes along. I can't think of a pure copper play that I'm following right now, or a pure copper play that has a warrant trading right here at the moment. And but I always say, like when we're just in generalizing on stock warrants, it's like it's same. You can ask the same question if you're talking about call options. But a stock warrant on what? On what company? On what sector? Number one, and on what company specifically. And so you have to like the company, and you have to like the prospects for that company and the upside opportunity. Otherwise, you're not going to buy a warrant. You're not going to buy an option. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to pass. So it's always something that's got to get you interested. And so that's the main thing that's going on. And a lot of the other folks, newsletter writers, I mean, they may recommend companies, but a lot of times, if they're not, quote, a warrant guy, and I don't know what that really means, but if they're not, they would not be aware that there's a stock warrant maybe trading on a company that they've recommended. And I mean, I can think of some examples of this, and that's okay. But I'm always thinking that's why our service at Common Stock Warrants is a great companion service, not competition, but a companion service. So you, as an investor, know all of the stock warrants that are trading, and in any sector. So if you're subscribing to tech newsletters or whatever, and you're seeing a list of company names, it's nice to know that where you would know, oh man, there's a stock warrant trading on that company. And then you check the details, you check the terms, what's the remaining life? Does it look interesting? Because there's a lot of other interesting sectors besides mining that do have the stock warrants that are trading. But it's all about opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all about opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic conversation. Really appreciate you shining a light on what is, to many, an unknown area of the market. So greatly appreciate that. For those who want to learn more, could you tell us about Common Stock Warrants, what you do there, where people can find it?
Yeah, just commonstockwarrants.com. Literally, I've done this, we're approaching 20 years. We started out with preciousmetallswarrants.com, which made sense because that was my hot button. And then, 2013 or something like this, decided, well, let's just come on in and pick up all the warrants in the U.S. And so we've got all the U.S. warrants, all the Canadian warrants that are trading, all industries, all sectors. And so we've got 2 levels of subscription, just a silver and a gold. So it's simple. If all you want is our warrant database, access to that, you just want the silver. If you want the database, and then you'd like to know what Dudley's doing, where am I investing? My gold subscribers get access to my personal portfolio. I do a weekly audio and get to tell them anything that's on my mind and what I'm thinking about, and get an email if I'm buying or selling anything. And so it's just been a great ride in this whole sector. And we're looking for this big up move, and it's all about the opportunities. I feel like I'm well positioned in my portfolio to capture a lot of gains to the upside here in the mining space. But there's something here for everybody in the warrant arena. And so I encourage everybody. We got some bonus products. You just come in. I mean, yeah, I wrote a book several years ago. It's as timely today as it ever was. Got one of the old books. Sidney Freed wrote, you won't believe it, 1949, The Speculative Merits of Common Stock Warrants. Again, it is as timely today because why? Nothing changes. It's the same definition of a stock warrant. It's all about looking for opportunities. It's all about the upside leverage. And that is a timeless piece that I've got in PDF form and give to everybody. So don't go and buy any of this stuff at Amazon. I'm giving it to you for free. So, but it's amazing how many people still go to Amazon and want to buy it. But it's on our website for free in a PDF form, and just download that puppy. So no, we welcome everybody. It's been a great ride for me, and I think that it's going to be a great ride for the end of this cycle.
Fantastic. Well, I'll put a link in the description below to Common Stock Warrants for people who want to check it out. Thank you once again, Dudley, for coming on and sharing your knowledge with the audience.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us today. As a reminder, this episode is brought to you by ARC, silver, gold, osmium for all your precious metals needs. Head to arcsgo.com and contact owner Ian Everard today at 307-264-9441 or by email at ian@arcsgo.com. And make sure to tell him that Commodity Culture sent you, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Commodity Culture is a series on commodities and natural resources. If you would like to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're always up to date with the latest episodes.